This episode of Tekzilla is brought to you by Domain.com. How about a $35 computer? How about a $25 computer?
I'll take it.
Yes. Well, you'll have to wait for it, right? They're a little backordered right now. We're talking about Raspberry Pi. If you haven't seen the webpage, raspberrypi.org. It's kind of amazing what people are doing with these. These are Linux PCs running an ARM 11 chip. They cost 25 or 35 bucks. People are using them to create, oh, look at that, smart glasses. They're using them to run servers. They're using them, actually, essentially what's really supposed to be for. It's a credit card, English is such a hard language. This is essentially the entire computer, right? The fact says the Raspberry Pi is a credit card sized computer that plugs into your TV either through HDMI or RCA and a keyboard. You got a pair of USB jacks on the Model B here. Quote, it is a capable little PC. It can be used for many of the things your desktop PC does, spreadsheets, word processing, games. It also plays high-definition video. We want to see it being used by kids all over the world to learn programming. $35 US, $25 if you get the Model A version without Ethernet and a second USB port. This is the Model B version I'm holding up. It's been back-ordered for a long time, but they're starting to ship now, and you're no longer restricted to one per customer. So if you've been thinking about buying a Raspberry Pi and been frustrated, you go to the website, they're like, register your interest. Well, it's pretty cool, right? So right at the heart of this thing, if I can actually point to it without frying the computer, it's a system on a chip, a Broadcom BCM2835, which is an ARM 11 CPU running at like 700 megahertz, overclockable to 800 megahertz, and a quote video core 4 GPU. That means it can do Blu-ray quality playback, H.264 video at 40 megabits per second. It's got 3D acceleration using, I want to say the OpenGL ES 2.0 and OpenVG libraries. Basically, it'll run Linux, it'll run XBMC, the Xbox Media Console, but you're going to need a few things to get it running. So you basically get this little green board in your box. That's it. You're going to need power.
No case, no nothing.
No case, no nothing. Apparently the next generation will have cases. You need power, micro USB cable, and a 700 milliamp source. Do not plug this into a PC. Do not try to power do not try to power your Raspberry Pi by plugging it into a USB port on your PC. You know, well, I could pull the little charger out of the cord there to show you, but then it would turn off XBMC behind me. You're going to need an SD card to load the operating system. You're going to need a keyboard and a mouse to get it set up. USB keyboard and mouse are pretty standard. And a monitor that takes HDMI, which we talked about, or HDMI over DVI, or HDMI DVI cable, or an RCA, a component cable, or composite cable. It's designed to use TVs, not component, composite. So you're also going to need Ethernet to get it connected up to the internet, at least if you're running XBMC the first time, which is right there. I haven't started on Wi-Fi myself, but I believe they're going to be compatible Wi-Fi USB adapters. I just haven't gotten that far along. You could run a Linux operating system if you go to the raspberrypi.org website and you go to downloads, and there, where did it go? Raspbian Wheezy. This is the image we recommend if you're just starting out. It's a reference root file system based on the Raspbian optimized version of Debian. Essentially, it's Debian with a bunch of development tools and example source code for multimedia functions. So if you just want to boot Linux off of it and use it as like a desktop PC, that's the way to go. I'm rolling with the RaspBMC, which is a customized version of XBMC designed for the Raspberry board. You need some command line action to load it in OS X, but there's really simple and easy installer. In Windows, basically, you download the incredibly tiny program, you launch the RaspBMC installer. If there was an SD card installed, I would be able to pick the SD card here and hit install. And a few minutes later, you pull your SD card out, you pull your SD card and pop it into the board here, and you need it basically, you need the SD, pull the power out, put the SD card in, put the power back in, and it will connect to the internet and download the rest of the files it needs to configure itself automatically.
Okay, so you need to unplug the power source?
Yeah, don't. You may be able to plug the SD card in while it's powered, but I'm not brave enough to try yet.
Gotcha.
Audio over HDMI is supported. It's really simple. Once you plug the SD card into your Raspberry Pi, plug in the power. You should already have it connected up to a TV using one of these jacks. It'll finish installing XBMC. And you basically have your own DIY streaming console, which is the Xbox Media Center. So I basically have the Xbox Media Center. I think like the only thing I have running right now probably is the weather. So this is the equivalent of like, in terms of power, this has better graphics than a first generation Xbox, but CPU power wise it's very comparable to a first generation Xbox, I am told. Next up, I'm going to be getting a remote working with the Raspberry Pi, downloading add-ons to customize XBMC, get video streaming. But basically, you have a nice interface on a $25, $35 box, and you can kind of build your own set-top box.
I love it.
I think for me, the next step is going to be getting the remote control running.
It'd be fun to make a little case for it, too. I'd like to see what kind of cases people make for them.
A lot of people are doing custom wood cases. People are building, using 3D printers to make cases for them. So
does it get too hot? Or, I mean, there's obviously no kind of fan on there, but I guess if it's all
it doesn't
open,
really.
Not heating up much.
It's also not doing much right now. So maybe if I get it to play some video, it'll get more exciting. Oh, is that a revision 3 add-on?
Ooh, look at that.
We'll talk about that the next time we take a look at Raspberry Pi.
One other question. If you are using the composite cables, what's the deal for audio out?
There's an audio out jack.
That's the audio out jack there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, there's a stereo audio out, so you can plug headphones into it or you can plug it into an amplifier.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's fun and it's cheap, so you can start playing around with it and not have to worry too much because it's a $25 board. Again, comes with 1 USB port and no Ethernet jack. $35 board has 2 USB plugs and an Ethernet jack.
Relatively low risk.